What's up, everybody? Welcome and welcome back to the channel. This is Arts of the Round Table. My name is Mello. Vamonos, we're going to keep going on this. We're going to keep painting this piece. Today's going to be a little bit more of the same. Let me move this over. But yeah, we're going to be chilling. You know, it never fails that I'm never really all the way prepared. So let's take care of that right now. I got a lot of stuff going on my screen. I just want to share. Where are you, man? But when I get that ready, good morning. It is morning where I'm at. So. Control C. I did a piece yesterday. And this one thing I want to start doing is multiple projects at the same time, or not stopping to wait for one to finish before I start another one. If you click here, hold on, click here for the full desk experience. But we bumping. Let me get ready while you guys jam to this. So, I'm a bit scattered. A part of me wants to start working a little bit on the background, but I think I need to keep focus on what's important and get him filled out a bit more. Get a proper base going, because after the base, after we finish the base, I'm going to be doing a lot of blending and smoothing out. So I don't need this. I don't need this. Today's going to be pretty short and sweet, about 2 hours worth. So let's just get to it, shall we? These are my tools. I probably won't be using this. This is what I'm going to be using for most of the background, just to cover more space and blending. I have and this one as well. This angled brush, flat brush to the side. And these are really what I'm going to be using today, especially on the form. Small angle brushes, number 2 angle brush, a flat. This is what I use the most. Okay, so you can see it. That's the one I use the most to drop in layer, and this filbert, this round edge one, is what I use for blending. And these are just the same, just size up. The Deepia M8K. I'm doing well. Oh, that's kind of cool. It has been a while. How are you? It's good to see you there. I'm trying to remember where were we? What was I painting? What was the last thing I was painting? Was I doing Boba Fett? Guess what? You made a friend and now I'm really happy. Okay. It may not have been Boba Fett, but yes, if I remember correctly, you was kind of concerned that people weren't talking to you or ignoring you, right? Is that right? And well, that's awesome news, man. I'm glad that you find a friend. It's always good to have friends. Nova Draws, how are you? Oh, was I doing I was drawing on my sketchbook. I had Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Kitty Pryde. Wow, that was a while ago. Well, I'm glad you're back. It's good to see you. All right. My references are up. I say we keep going. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I think we was just drawing on my sketchbook that day. Well, I'm glad you're back. Either way, I'm very happy that you're back. I'm happy that you found a friend. I hope it's the beginning of many more friends to have. So I'm just using the same dry palette. You guys don't see it, but this is the palette I'm using. Same from yesterday. It's a little dry. That's the beauty of gouache. Just let it sit. I just dampened my brush, and I'm gonna reactivate some of these. All right. But yeah, man, happy Friday. I hope you guys celebrate. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are practitioners of Happy Friday. I'm sorry. I got so much tech in front of me, cameras, and I just sometimes all I ever want to do is paint. All I ever want to do is draw. And these things kind of like, not that they get in the way, they get in the way. They do get in the way. But yeah, I just want to draw, paint, and get creative. And this this kind of like forces me to step out a little bit and be creative in another way. Uh, and production. I kind of lost some of my pencil lines, so I'm just using this dark color. All of this is going to be in shadow anyway. I already do not like the way I kind of modeled his hair. I will be changing that. I think that's the beauty of taking a moment in between sessions to take a look and really study. I am going to use, but I'm going to use some of this chaos here to do some rim lighting. Yes, well, looks amazing. Thank you. I forgot to mention too, I started my own art channel. That's fantastic for the DPS. They are excited. It's been a few days. Same. They got some work to do. They'll be back. I feel a bit more energized than how I was yesterday and the day before. The day before Wednesday, I was on 3 hours of sleep. You guys are lucky you even got a sentence out of me. You got a shadow here. I kind of wish that I went darker on the I wish I went darker on the back on this wash, because I think it would have been really cool to start seeing the colors emerge from that shadow, kind of like what was going on here. But we live and learn. I'm trying a different style and a different technique. More of a style. The technique is the same. The style is a bit different. I am trying to do kind of like a Glenn Fabry look. Where he had a lot of meaty and very detailed muscle tones and lumps. That's the most technical way I can describe it. Alright, I'm actually going to, like I said, I didn't like the way I did his hair, so I'm just going to muddy this up because I'm going to add the highlights a bit better. I gotta be careful how much water I add to my brush because it will pull up the gouache. Again, gouache is always alive. It's always active no matter how long you let it sit. Remember that if you are a gouache painter. I kind of like that suggestiveness of the eyes there. So if you're going to try to do layering, make sure you have soft brush strokes so it'll sit on top. Because once you start moving the brush left or right in sweeping motions, you will start pulling up the paint underneath. I like that. Light up here because he's going to be in light. I'm just adding a little bit of white and earth yellow. I probably won't be describing everything that I'm doing because it might just get so. But you guys, let me know if you have a question. Make sure you ask. You could either ask in the chat or you can leave it in a comment later on if you don't like to speak in front of the class. All right, no worries. Gotta make sure that that's bone. I'm just using whatever I have on my palette. When I add the background, I'm going to add a little bit more shine and lightness to the bone so it can stand up and more white. Right now, I don't want to work too much on that. All right, let's see if we can recreate some of this flesh tone. That was that. Of course, leave it to me to have everything in the way. I don't want to use black, so I'm going to use a dab of this blue here. I can live with that blush. A little bossa nova action in the background. So even though it doesn't look it, this combination of paint here on my palette is a bit thicker. That's why I'm able to layer it on top of what's here without it pulling up. And I'm doing very rough because then I can go later on if I didn't have Butterfingers. And I'm gonna blend all this stuff in later. I'm just trying to reestablish some of the skin tone and darkness. Add a little bit more blue that I have already on my palette. See, I added too much water on that one, so I gotta dry it up and reload. It was only a matter of time before my cat started waking up. Let me see. I really shouldn't be contaminating my white paint. But yeah, you guys, how is everyone today? I hope the sun is shining where you are. You guys might have to suffer through some light coming through my blinds. It's really nice outside. And I did not want to close my blinds this morning. I need a little bit more water. So as you can tell, I'm not being too precise. I'm just kind of like dabbing where I want these blobs of color. It'll all blend downwards and it will transition nicely. And if I'm lucky, some of the color underneath will reactivate and it'll blend that way. Some of his arm is in shadow. It's going to be light there. I'm just going to use some streaks of light to emphasize veins or scars. That's going to be in shadow. And now his knuckles. Good morning, Caleb. How are you, man? You're gonna will that song back into the charts, man. And I hope not. I'm just kidding. This is actually, I'm going to be going through some really interesting roller coasters here because I'm in the part of this Tarzan painting where he's going to start emerging from the page. And then I'm going to have that same type of effect of building up, having my concerns. Oh, I just ruined it while I'm doing Sheena there in the background. I mean, on the side here. All right, I'm switching to my filbert. And I'm going to add a little bit more white. I'm going to add white to the palette. And I'm going to add, I need something. I might even, let's see what a little green looks like. He is in the jungle. How about some blue at the same time? I'm going to slide those colors here. You could kind of see it in my palette. And I need some dark also. That's probably going to be more for his hair. And that might come later on. I kind of like that color. I'm just mixing a bunch of the Zorn palette, which is earth yellow, some vermilion, white, and I'm not using black. I'm using blue-ish because I don't want to. I'm gonna use some of this ochre. I'm trying to find a good highlight color that's not white, that has a little bit more life than just white. So we'll see. And I'm still using the color, the light source from my reference. I probably won't exaggerate it as much, but I'm laying down the base because it's probably going to be more than these, and why not? Huh? I can be a little bit more dangerous than that. I drew Darkwing Duck yesterday. Anybody here remembers Darkwing Duck? He was a really cool amalgamation of Batman, but he really was uh, designed more to look like the Shadow, especially his appearances. And he would talk from the shadows. I am the darkness that flaps in the night. I can't do it. I'm trying. Goes my alarm. I'm gonna stop that. So yeah, I'll show you guys that in a second because I actually enjoyed it a little too much. All right. And I have and I bring that up because of I was talking earlier about starting projects before finishing one. And I think that's what I'm going to do while I'm painting this still. I want to start another project, something big on canvas. So I'm trying to like mentally prepare myself for that. It's not something I've done before. I'm kind of start it, finish it, which is why some of these videos I like doing these live streams and focusing on one piece. To appease that part of my mind. All right, I'm gonna just use a damp. It's clean. Kind of damp to the touch, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna damp it again. I have a tissue on the bottom of my canvas here that is wet, so I'm gonna use that as my way to control the water, and I'm gonna blend out. Now, if I want to move my darks and blend my darks into the light, then I would start with the dark. I'll start with the darkest paint and move into where the highlights are to kind of like dilute them. See if I can show you that. So you see these dark here, this brown? I'm just going to use a little bit of that same color on my brush, or an approximate. And what it's going to do is going to reactivate it, and then I can move it. And as I move it, it's going to blend in with the colors around it for a smooth, or you would hope so, a smooth transition. And now as I move, I can go in and out of the light and the dark, and it'll begin to actually transition that smoother. I don't know if you can tell from how far up the camera is, but here, take a look at that. Just that small section right here, how smooth that came out. I'm going to do it again. I'm approximating that tone. It's a little bit on my brush there. Very little. My brush is a bit damp, so it's reactivating the bottom colors. I can blend them into each other. And now I can pull the light into those shadows, or into the parts that have darker tone. See that? Caleb asks, no titanium white. There is some white on my palette, but I don't want to go full highlight just yet. And I don't know if I will use full titanium white for this flesh, for the skin tone, for his highlight, because we rarely have titanium white coming out of our body like that. All right. There's a way to know when your brush has exhausted. Oh yeah, some titanium white, some what else? Uh, he used every color. The Prussian, the phthalo. He loved him some phthalo. I would love to try to do some. I need some darker, some oil. Use oil paints, but I don't know if I have the patience for it. So I'm just going back with some of my shadow colors, my darker shades, and I'm just gonna blend everything in there to make it look a bit more uniform. Gesso question mark? Yes, I have to use gesso on this is sketch cover, uh, which isn't meant to be used with gouache with gouache. It is not strong enough, so I use clear gesso on it. Yeah, I like the way that I'm using now, reactivating some of the black from his hair and transferring it onto his skin so it'll look like a bounce light. Blend everything together. I still watch some Bob Ross, Caleb. It's some of the best stuff. It really is. I've tried the technique. Again, I my problem is patience more than anything, and I laugh at saying that because it's not like what I'm doing here takes 20 minutes, you know. But the more I paint, the more I see now I blended out all the highlights that I put in here. I'm gonna put them back. The more I paint, the more I understand his patience. It really is a great way to just shut out the noodle. Here's something that I know that I do that helps me that most art teachers aren't. They would rather have you work throughout the whole painting. I don't care for any of that. But what I mean is that I need small victories. So if I can get this shoulder to look how my mind's eye wants it to look and the way that reference is, that's a small victory. I can keep moving. Then I'll move. And I know it's not the right way. I don't care. There is no right way. It's your way. Cool. That's still a pretty good base. I think I'm gonna need to do a bit more adding of highlights. But I'm gonna just let these brush strokes break across. Right? It's a good looking shoulder. The problem is though, you might get a bit of tunnel vision. Not you, the royal you, us, we. And you lose the whole image because of that piece. But like I said, I don't paint to be right. I paint to feel good. Caleb, have you watched Will Alexander? The guy that I don't know how much of the if he really was the guy that teach him, but he basically carried the torch. He used to have a show before Bob doing the same technique of wet on wet and doing landscapes. Old German dude. His show is great also. He's a bit more energetic. He's definitely a bit more energetic. He's done oh my lord, some still life. But he does uh the same technique of wet on wet. Both are fun to watch for their own reasons. I probably wouldn't watch Will Alexander late night. I think that's a Bobby Ross. Go to bed with Bobby Ross. Um, Bill has a little bit too much energy. I'm gonna use this dark gray, green, bluish as my base for shadows. And I'm gonna start using this dirty flesh tone to go into him so you can see the muscle tone. Oh yeah, he's really good. There's an archive channel for Bill Alexander that I have saved. I haven't watched much lately. I I've been doing my own painting, man. All right. I gotta cut this arm here. When I started this channel, man, I didn't think I would be. It's silly of me to think that I wasn't going to be on YouTube as much. I'm on YouTube all the time now. But I think a lot of it's for good reason. One, because I'm doing this stuff. Following up on art friends. Art friends. I love doing that, art friends, because we've never met, but you have a connection with people that you follow, and but yeah, man. You would love to learn how to paint on canvas. Honestly, it's the same as painting on anything else. We, not you, the royal we, and me as well. We put too much emphasis on certain things, man, that makes it difficult for us to get past mentally. I thought the same thing. So I don't say that as an insult to you. I'm saying it because I've experienced it as well. But painting on canvas is the same as anything else. It really is, depending on the medium. I have a ton of canvases. Did I show you my Spider-Man on canvas? I keep trying to get my camera, my phone to record. And I set it up and I forget to press the button. All right, so not to downplay painting on not to downplay the ability to paint on different surfaces, but if you prepare a little bit and kind of like yeah, all it is preparedness, a little bit of preparedness and a little bit of study goes a long way. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to paint on these covers without prepping them, which is why I use gesso. But this is canvas. I didn't use gesso on this. Canvas, when you're painting with gouache, just kind of absorbs the water as it should, right? Because it's dissipating in the whatever cloth this is. Cotton? This might be cotton something. And it's pre-gessoed. Some of these are pre-prepped. So that's just using gouache. 2 colors. I kind of simplified my palette. I encourage people and artists that if you're going to try something new, try a lesser palette, a smaller palette. Lessen the chance of mistakes. So if you lessen the palette using black and white, you can start really focusing on just tone and form, and that might give you some encouragement to move forward. This is my other this is a canvas as well. Gouache again. I can't remember if I can't remember if I don't think I used gesso on this either. So what I ended up having to do was several layers of gouache, watery, in a more of a watercolor consistency, so that can so that I can layer on top of that, so that I can create a barrier between the canvas and the paints. The next time I use canvas, I will throw on some gesso, maybe a lot of it. So, also, check this out, man. The Magneto and this painting, I have them up for auction to help out some guys in the YouTube sphere who need some help and need some assistance. But if you go into my coffee shop, right here, where is it? Right there. If you go to my coffee shop, you can purchase them directly. Where is it? And you don't have to bid for them. If you wait for the auctions, then you have to bid with some other people. But if you go to my coffee shop, those are for sale. I got some other things in there that are for sale as well. You can buy them direct. So, just letting you know. Yes, you have to prime the canvases, and I started doing that on. Oh man, I kind of butchered that hand. I'm gonna have to build it up again. Um, I paint on regular comic book paper, which shouldn't be holding all of this paint from gouache because it's water based and you can be wet in it. So I started doing that to 11 by 17 Strathmore paper, 300 series. Like it's good, but it isn't that good for paints like that, for the way I layer. That's how I started. I started using gesso on mixed media paper. I started using it on watercolor paper. It didn't matter. What I was trying to do was create a surface that I was going to get comfortable with. Now, it doesn't matter what type of paper anyone brings to me. Hey, can you paint on this? Can you paint on that? Because you prime it. And it'll retain that level of texture that you're accustomed to. Not me. You got to put yourself in a position to succeed, mate. I think the last thing I'm going to do for Tarzan here is start adding scratches and scars. That kid's shoulder, the reference I'm using is so defined, it's amazing. I don't know if I'll be able to capture it, but capture it. So yeah, man, you prime what you need, and you'll realize that painting on canvas, painting on paper, painting on a piece of plywood, your style isn't going to change. Just the technique a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna add that right there. Per Caleb's suggestion, some titanium white. Ah, thank you, sweetheart. Yeah, but to get, I think we get caught up, bro. I think we get caught up too much on feeling like we can't do these things. The good Lord made us creators, man. So, it's inherently in us to create. So, give it a shot, man. I kind of like the rough look, but I also want to smooth it out. So I'm fighting certain urges. Yeah, man, I've suffered far too long from, oh, I can't do that. I've learned to say I can't do that right now. We can do whatever we want. As long as we put our mind to it. That's something I got from Bob Ross. All right, I need to make a highlight on the bottom because then we lose that arm. I'm gonna use this yellow, this green right here. Start adding these lines for scars. I don't know how suggestive I'm going to be here, but I'm gonna use a bigger brush so I can start adding some of this before I get stuck. We need some skin tone. Some of that. Some of that. Alright, so I gotta figure out a tone that's fleshy enough. Let me see. This might work. Nope. It's too light. It's gonna be more of a grayish color. A grayish flesh tone. Because I wanted to read ISO chest. I want to give him more natted looking hair. I think my first attempt at his hair yesterday was a little too smooth. And there are no salons in the Amazon. No, he's not in the Amazon, he's in the African jungle. He got no products. He's gotta look like a jungle dude, don't he? Close my windows. But yeah, I think dark up here. It's gonna be a lot of the same colors, which is really gonna make this thing pop. Not sure about his loincloth. Ah, he has a jaguar cloth. That's what your boy be rocking. That's got to be insulting, right? He's wearing the undies to the the full outfits, trying to attack him. All right. So I'm gonna use. Let's create a base here because I'm then gonna use one of my favorite colors. That yellow. These are gonna be my shadows. I'm using the form of the brush here. Doo doo doo. Mix this orange. I'm going to add this orange as my second layer. These are still kind of my base. And then when this dries, I'll add the beautiful yellow orange to really have this stand out. Her outfit's gonna be the same color. I wonder if I should just start jumping in there and do hers as well. What do you think? My brush stays dirty. Yeah, the dude does look a lot like Tom Holland. I don't know if you can see this either. It's still really wet. You get a close up of the dude's crotch. So very much like watercolor, it's going to run into and bleed out and create really cool effects. And then when it dries, it'll dry smoothly. All right, so this side is dark, so I'm gonna keep that dark, and then I'll go back in with some when it's dry. Yeah, he does look like Tom Holland, which must be annoying for him, right? All right, where are we? Where are we in the process here? That's a good leg. That's a good arm. I think that's a good base for him. I think we should start working with her. Just so that we could have just so we can feel like we're moving on, right? So let's do that. I am going to scooch, and then I'm gonna change the reference. I'm gonna move that camera over. So this is the reference I was using for Sheena. I will not be retaining the skin tone. Thank you, sweetheart. But the pose was great. I think the only thing that if I do work on back and forth, it'll probably be this leg. But even still, I'm okay with the way that looks. I just need to build up that knee and some of that muscle tone. I am going to move this follow me up here. All right. Don't mind this. My windows are behind me. All right. I'm going to use, I think this square brush will be okay. Nah, it's too big. That one. I'm just looking for a flat brush so that I can start painting her. brush. Same technique. Um, let's start moving through the body here. I'm probably gonna keep her in a more lighter note. Let's see. I'm just not quite sure what the shadows are gonna be just yet, but let's just go. That feels a little too light anyway. She has a bangle. I gave her a bangle. Her character in the book, that I'm drawing on top of, has that bangle. Let's see if we can play. I think the color transitions for her are going to be a bit more subtle. I'm going to try to anyway. Just going to add some of this here. I need some light in here. I needed to hit it with that light or I was going to lose it. Because I went through so much, maybe over 2 hours now, of doing Tarzan's colors, I'm more confident with the mixtures that I can come up with, which is why I'm moving fairly quickly with Sheena here. And there's light here. Here. Dude, I hope you guys can't hear my guts. I should eat something. I don't want to be using brown as my shade. I need to add more blues to it. All right, I think She's super dark, but that's okay because I'll be able to add the highlights on top and blend them down like I did before. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. Where am I? The one thing I noticed that I didn't do for her as much as I did for him, and I didn't give him much muscle tone, and that is forcing me to concentrate on the model a bit more. Just adding a little bit of red for some blushes. Using all my shades to blend in. Then when I added way too much water. The one thing, the real issue I end up having with gouache is that it dries really quick. My room is pretty dry, so when I add water to reactivate it, it may put too much water in my brushes, and that becomes a problem. I'm not worried that this is too dark either. I just need it to as a placeholder, because I can blend into it as much as I need to. Take care of her suggestive attire. And I'm losing my lines here. Gina rocking that whooping stick. I gotta remember what I've been learning from watching these painters on these art competitions, that it's about suggestion at first. Suggest the shadow, suggest the shape, and then refine, and then fine tune. So, I'm trying to do the same here without without trying to have those little mini panics that artists be having. Oh, it's not looking the right way. It looks muddy. It looks gross. It looks this, that, and the other. And it's so early in the process that where's the arm? Right there. And everything is dry on my palette. So that's that. This is the bicep. I'm gonna go back in with some lighter colors. I'm just blending in my shapes, getting my forms. I have to. There. At first, it was a bit difficult to get the voluptuous shape of the female figure using a flat brush. But again, I'm not thinking that way just yet. I'm just trying to map out my shapes. Because I'm going to use my other brushes to smoothen out and round out. Try not to get ahead of the painting. I just wiped out all the paint I had there. Oh, this is in shadow. What's up, Chuck? Man, I didn't realize that's you that said that. How you doing, man? I just built out her forearm. That means I'm gonna have to be using. I'm gonna have to draw this out. Thin it out when I do the background. Let's do this. I can't use that because it looks like everything else. So let's add some green to it. We are moving right along. Let me get that. I will not be on later on today. And as you guys know, I don't stream on the weekends. But I'll probably be hanging around. I've been wanting to catch my boy's live stream. And I keep not that I keep forgetting, but time just gets away from me. So I'm going to try to catch it this weekend. There's an interview of my buddy that's going to be on later on today. Saboteur. But yeah, I am going to be cleaning house. I might even play some video games. I used to. Me and my cousins and a buddy named Hank. My buddy named Hank. My cousins. We would play. Ghost Recon Wildlands, and then we kind of like shifted over to Daisy, which is great, but we haven't done that in a while. Losing your job and trying to focus on other things really hinders your video gameage. So that happens, and but now we're gonna give a shot. We're gonna give it a shot again. Situation's still the same, but I'm in a better headspace. Know what I mean? So we're gonna try a game called Radio Not. I'll let you guys know how that goes. I'm gonna put a little bit of that here. Yeah, she's definitely gonna take more time to do, but I'm digging it so far. I didn't make her as overly sexualized like they do in this comic, uh, and in various other iterations of Sheena. I don't think that's necessary. I mean, I get it. I get it. Sex sells like nobody's business in this world. And to get males to buy something, you gotta tantalize them. Unfortunately, uh, which it is what it is. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it a bit more realistic. So she's a little bit. She's not ugly. Um, she's a little kept. Her hair's a little messed up, which would make sense. That's all. It's a little too. But I get it. And I have done my fair share of uh, sexualizing female superheroes and characters and to catch people's eyes. I mean, like I said, she has everything that a woman should have. I guess. But I mean, I just kind of went a little bit more real with him as well. I find he's a little bit more ripped. But I like the fact that in this composition, she's in front of him. They're equals in this. I'm curious how I put a masking fluid. I'm curious how that's gonna hold up. It should be fine. Famous last words, right? It should be fine. I'm trying to generalize her fingers here. I just thought it was funny that the model, and it's not her fault, they have her modeling as a prehistoric figure, and she has perfectly manicured fingers. And I did not want to carry that over. Just it makes sense to me. Does everything have to be realistic? Nope. It was just something that I wanted to focus on for this one. Nami. Nami. This paint is thick. It's barely moving. Now I can start moving this around to match. 'Cause, like I said, she's still, she has everything that a woman should have. There's everything have to be realistic. Nope. It was just something that I wanted to focus on for this one. Nami. 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 the light and the form a bit better now that everything's kind of thick. Before I switch to my filbert and really get to the blending part. To cut off some of those hard edges. I'm going to include a bit more red when it comes to her face. I'm going to keep her eyes obscured in shadow, but I'm going to add a little bit more. It's red on the cheeks. I should keep it like that. All right. I don't want to do too much blending here because then I'm going to lose the shape. Again, I didn't scan this. I didn't take a picture. So from here on out, it's going to be straight up building on the paint. I like it so far. I like it. Yeah, I'm digging it. And I'm going to take a step back for a second, take a sip. Sheena's blonde That's going to present another challenge. How to dictate her hair. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm going to give her this. I got white on this brush, and it's gonna. All right. I think I'm gonna make her outfit's more earth yellow than his, and she's more in the light. So let's see if we can. I'm gonna use that. That'll be the base for her suit. I want her kind of like to stand out a little bit more. Remember, suggestion. What can I use to darken this up? It's a bit darker there. And then it just kind of like splashes of color because the rest is going to be in shadow. Get some blending. I don't know how smooth I'm going to try to do the blending on her, whatever this schmuck. It's not a smock. I'm adding a little bit of white so I can fill in. White is super dynamic. Oh, thanks, Caleb. I'm about done with today's session. I think I covered a lot of ground, and will be more than satisfied to let it sit for the weekend. But before I go, I got to show you guys the Darkwing Duck that I did. Remember suggestion. Let your eye do the rest. One last bit. Sometimes you just can't stop, right? Some highlights. I'm gonna let it blend in with the already wet. Most of this is going to be in shadow. This is going to be my mid-tone. And I can play with all of those lines there. Bicep, arm. All right. I'm gonna stop that. Give that a second to breathe. Give myself a second to breathe. And I've showed you guys already this first cover that I did. This is what all this is about. I have like 8 or 9 of these sketch covers. And this was the first one I painted on. This is the one that gave me the confidence to go ahead and do this on these sketch covers. This is where I discovered the clear gesso with the smooth texture. That was very interesting. This was the second cover that I started, but I was able to. I did this one yesterday. It was just I had gotten the idea for it, and I didn't want to lose the idea. Not that I think I would have lost it, but it was just too fun to pass up. And there you go, Darkwing Duck in the Dark Knight pose. The hardest part really was to try to figure out what the bill would look like and the fedora. Props to Frank Miller. M2, I used to sign my signature as M2 for Melo Marrero. But yeah, I got a few of these that I want to kind of switch between having some fun like this, do some straight up homage covers, and then do some straight up let my creativity kind of like go nuts. But yeah, so far I got thumbs up from my kids. They loved it, and especially one of my boys is he's supportive, but he's super critical. He'll let you know. And when I showed him this, he was like, "It's really cool. I really like it." So brought a tear to my eye. But there you go. These are actual comic books. You know what's interesting? They didn't, on this Lords of the Jungle, you flip the page, it's the actual cover. They don't do that here. They didn't give me the cover, and I think it was supposed to be this cover. And that's kind of messed up. Also, why doesn't he have the domino mask in that design? He has it everywhere else. Come on now. Is that why they removed it? But anyway. So that's going to be me. That's going to be my time, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Happy Friday. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. This is Art to the Round Table. My name is Mello. God bless you. I love you. Mean it. And until next time, I will draw you later. I'm going to let the music play out while I clean up. Peace. Bye-bye.